Alton Towers is a huge theme park and has some of the best roller coasters in the UK. Because it is huge, lots of people go there. Lots of people watch it on YouTube. I'm basically doing the equivalent of selling out because I'm only making this video because I think it might get a lot of views. I'm being completely honest. Right, so with all the different coasters at Alton Towers, what's the best way to rank them from 1 to 10? Oh my god, no one cares. Now this list might be slightly controversial, and you will probably disagree with it at some points, but I am not filtering my opinion, so enjoy it. So anyway, let's start off with number 10, which is going to be controversial, because it is Octonauts. There you go, I've let everybody down. I'm not funny because I didn't put the kiddie coaster at number 1. Number 9. Number 9 is Runaway Mine Train. It's good for families, but I don't have any footage about it, and let's be honest, you don't want to hear me ramble on about how it's a good, enjoyable ride for families. Quickly moving on with the slightly smaller coasters, at number 8 is Spinball Whizzer. It's at number 8 because the rest of the coasters are part of the Big 7, as you'd call them, and Spinball Whizzer is just outside that. It is more of a family ride, even though people like to call Wicker Man and 13 family rides. Look, it's just a good smaller coaster with some spinning, which can be quite good at times, but it's not the best in the world. I do enjoy it, but it always has a huge queue for what it is. But yeah, that's the first three out of the way, and now we're gonna get into the proper stuff, the Big 7. Where am I going to rank them? And which one do I think is the worst at number 7? Some people are really going to hate me for this, because at number 7 is Galactica. Yes, I think Galactica isn't that great. Well, I'm going to be honest, I find it pretty boring. I told you this was going to be my opinion, and it is my opinion. And why do I opinion this and why is this the lowest out of the Big 7 in my opinion? Well, personally, it just doesn't do much for me. It's not very intense. Yes, it is a bit restricting with the restraints. Yes, it is a bit restricting with the restraints and things, but that's not really why I don't like it very much. I just don't like it very much because it doesn't really thrill me very much. But for me, because I've ridden it quite a few times, that does begin to get a little bit old for me. There are some bigger and better flying coasters that I really want to ride at some point that I do think I very much enjoy, but in my opinion Galactica's a bit bland. Speaking of bland rides, you might be able to guess what's coming up next. Now that is Rita, and Rita isn't... I actually can't be bothered explaining this. If you're unaware, fairly recently within the coaster community there's been quite a lot of debate amongst whether Rita is a good ride or not. Without repeating things I've said a lot in the past, I am on team Rita is boring, because it is. What I will say to try something new to this argument is that from my observations it is generally people who have ridden a lot of roller coasters that say Rita is bad, and that does explain quite a lot, because if you have ridden a lot of coasters the launch isn't going to thrill you that much, and if the launch doesn't catch you off and you're not completely blown away trying to comprehend how quick the launch was, then you will spend the rest of the ride realising that it's not that forceful and the airtime isn't really there. Anyway, enough about that. The Rita arguments have been beaten to death at this point. So at number 5, I apparently have the great roller coaster at Alton Towers, which is known as 12, because I should really start actually writing proper scripts. Is 13 really intense? No. Is 13 really fast-paced? No. Does 13 have any airtime whatsoever? Of course not. But the drop track and the backward section in the dark do not get old. 13 has got quite a nice charm to its theming in a weird way. I mean, it is about a girl getting eaten by the forest. Or the point I'm trying to make is that it might not be the most heavily themed ride in the world, but it is very well done. And for a Merlin-owned park, the fact that they invested this amount of money into a roller coaster that's a full experience with lots of different sections and storyline is something that you should appreciate, because it is good. Now I'm saying that, and it is at number 5 out of the 7 big coasters, but really the next 4 are all on they're all the top tier Towers coasters, and they're quite hard to rank between them. So you're probably wondering what they are. And at number 4 is Oblivion.
Oh, do another one, because I like cut in the middle.
Now I have discovered something about Oblivion that nobody else has said before. I think I'm really intelligent for working this one out, but Oblivion is a short ride. If you complain about Oblivion being short, go ride Oblivion the Black Hole. Oblivion is short. The ride is a drop. Is the drop good? Yes, the drop is very good. There's a lot of dive coasters around the different countries. There's a lot of dive coasters that go into holes. A lot of those coasters have been ruined by vest restraints, and none of them go vertically into a hole. Oblivion's drop is better than them. I said this about 13, but Oblivion also does not get old. That drop is kind of addicting. For the people that say Oblivion is the best coaster at Towers, you should go and lick a lamppost. What does that even mean? Now the top 3. Ooh, suspense. Which way are they going to be around? Well, I'll tell you which way they're going to be round. Wickerman is at number 3. Wickerman, in a similar way to 13, is a bit of an experienced coaster. A lot of it's about the theming, which is very well done. No, it's not perfect. Yes, I am annoyed that the fire isn't on because, oh, how dare they? But effects and theming aside, Wickerman is a very good coaster. And for its size and the layout it has, it is an extremely good coaster. Now, looking at the layout of Wickerman, it is surprising how they managed to create such a thrilling ride out of it, because it's basically a fairly short ride with a bunch of turns and some airtime pops. But when Great Coasters International are designing a coaster, they know how to make it great. It is in the name. It is short and the layout is a bit rubbish on paper, but once you get on it, you get thrown about, both from the slight bit of shaky roughness and the way it's designed to throw you out of your seat when you're not expecting it. Wickerman is fast paced and it feels quick. Now, choosing out of the Smiler and Nemesis for number 1 place, it is very hard. Nemesis is an absolute classic. The way you really feel like your feet are going to crack against the rocks is unmatched by anything else. And the Smiler has a ridiculous amount of inversions, with a disorientating fun ride. What is just narrowly going to slip down to 2, which might be surprising for some people, is the Smiler. So Smiler's at number 2. Am I one of those deranged individuals that thinks the Smiler is rough? No, I am not. The Smiler is not rough. That is not why it's not in the top place. The Smiler has an insane, twisted, inversion-filled layout. Wow, isn't that a surprise that the roller coaster with the most inversions in the world goes upside down a lot? But honestly, being turned upside down that many times is very fun, because yes, it could be very repetitive. Although making a coaster go upside down lots and lots of times in a row could be very repetitive. The Smiler doesn't suffer from that, because most of the inversions are different. I love how they all feel different, I love how it keeps the pacing, I love how sometimes you get a tiny hint of airtime at the top, and yes, those 2 airtime hills never fail to deliver some really solid ejector in the middle of all those inversions. I find it very hard to look at the Smiler and say, oh, it's not a good ride, it was built by Gerslow, and oh my god, how dare they not build a roller coaster that's completely... How dare they try to please the target audience of the park? Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling on a bit. Smiler is very good, but not as good as Nemesis. Though it is as good as Nemesis, because I just randomly had to pick one out of these 2. It is the oldest big coaster there, and I feel like it's somewhat at number 1 just because of its status. Is it the most insane ride in the world? No. But for me, what puts Nemesis at number 1 really is the fact that you can ride Nemesis many, many, many times and still sometimes be surprised by the intensity and the way it's landscaped and everything. To stop myself from giving my thoughts on this coaster for the 4th time in a row, I'm going to leave it there. So guys, I can see that only 36.6% of you are subscribed. When I would get more subscribers and I would stop losing them. Asking for subscribers is cringe, but if you like this and want to see more, then I recommend you do. Are you an angry nerd that hates me because I have different opinions to you and wants to type loudly disapproval because, oh, how can this idiot have a different opinion? The comment section is below for you to have what I'm sure will be a reasonable, respectful discussion. Thank you all for watching. I can't do outros.